Good morning, dear students. As we are completing NCERT class 9 mathematics, in which we have till now we have completed number systems. Now we will move to the second chapter, that is polynomials. We have learned about polynomials in our previous classes, but let's focus on some basic concept of polynomials. As we know, polynomial is the mathematical expression that consists of variable, coefficient and exponents. Polynomials are mathematical expression that consist of variable, coefficient and exponents, and the terms are combined using addition, subtraction, multiplication and exponentation. These terms are combined using addition, subtraction, multiplications and exponentation. Means to say, the term variable, coefficient, exponentation are combined using addition, subtraction, multiplication and exponentations. For example, suppose we have a term 5 plus x plus 2 or minus 3x plus 4, etc., etc. We have a term like 5x plus 2 minus 3x plus 4. Before we focus on this, let's understand what is variable, what is coefficient, what is exponents, what is operators and what are constants. As we know, variables are alphabets that represent unknown value. Variables are alphabets that represents unknown value. For example, we have given 2x. Here 2 is known as 2 is confirmed, but x is the variable. X is variable and it represents unknown value. The value of x may be 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. up to infinity. It may be any value. And on the other side, coefficient, number that multiplies the variable. Number that multiplies the variable will be 2. Here the constant term will be the coefficient of x. Here the coefficient of x is 2. In this term, the coefficient of x is 2 and the variable is x. So it is clear what is variable and what is coefficient. Now exponents is a symbol that indicates how many times a number called the base is multiplied by itself. For example, 3 to the power 2 is to 9. Here you can see that 3 multiplies twice by itself, we will get 9. So that is the exponents. And what are the operators? Operators are the symbols plus, minus or multiplication. These are known as operators. And the constant term represent a value that does not change. Here in this term, a value that does not change. Now let's understand this with an example. Suppose these are the polynomials where suppose we have 5x plus 2 minus 3x plus 4. Now in this term here we have a variable, as I told you earlier, and coefficient of x is 5, and this term represents the constants, and this term represents the constant value, because after putting any value in the x, 2 will not be changed. For example, if x is equal to 1, then 5x plus 2 is equal to 5, 1 plus 2, 5 plus 2, and it represents 7. That means whatever the value x have, but it will not affect the constant value that does not have change, that is known as constant. So these are the polynomial terms, in which, as I told you, that the mathematical expression that consists of in this polynomial, we have variable, we have coefficients, we have other terms, and these terms includes polynomials. These are known as polynomials. Now what are the types of polynomials? Types of polynomials, we have various types of polynomial. Basically, first one is monomial, binomial, trinomial, linear polynomial and constant polynomial. Now let's focus one by one. Suppose in a polynomial we have only one term, then this will be known as monomial. You can write down the definitions that are given here of the monomial, binomial, trinomial, linear polynomial and constant polynomial. These are the definitions you can write down in your notebook. Now what is monomial? Monomial in which we have only one term, that is monomial, and the term expression in which we have two value, that is known as binomial, in which and now focusing on the trinomial, the expression in which we have three values under root. Suppose this is the root 2 plus x minus x square, in which we have three terms. So this is known as trinomial. And the linear polynomial and constant polynomial. Constant polynomial is that, as I told you earlier, constant, a value that does not change, that is known as constant polynomial. A polynomial which have only one term, suppose only 5, only 2 or only 3, that is known as constant polynomial, in which in this term, suppose we have a polynomial x plus 2 and it can be represented, the coefficient of x is 0 and the polynomial write down by this way. At here you can see that that we have only constant polynomial and the coefficient of x is 0. That means x, this term doesn't mean anything. That's why we have only constant polynomial. So this type of term are known as constant polynomial. Linear polynomial we will discuss further, but I told you that linear polynomial is that polynomial in which we have the degree of polynomial with have 1 degree is known as linear polynomial. Suppose we have a term like that. In that term, the degree of polynomial is 1. That's why this is the linear polynomial. Let's further move and we will clear what is linear polynomial and other. Now, as I told you about constant polynomial, we have two important points. Note down this. First one is the constant polynomial 0 is called the zero polynomial, and the degree of non-constant polynomial is 0. The degree of non-constant polynomial is 0. Suppose we have a term like x2 plus 2. We have a term like x2 plus 2. Here the degree of 2 is 0. The degree of 2 means to say the maximum power of 2 is 0. That's why the degree of non-constant polynomial is 0. Now a term arises that is degree of polynomial. What is degree of polynomial? Degree of polynomial is the highest power of the variable in a polynomial. Highest power of the variable in a polynomial. Suppose we write down a polynomial like that, x to the power 6 plus 4 x to the power 3 plus 2 x square plus 2, or we write x to the power 7 plus x cube plus 3. In both the polynomial, you can see the term variable have highest power. In this we have variable that is x, and the highest power of x is 6. Here you can see the highest power of x is 6 and here the highest power of x is 7. So the highest power of the variable in any variable, what will be the highest power of the variable in any polynomial, what will be the highest power of any variable will known as the degree of polynomial. Means to say, we can say the degree of polynomial of this term is 6, or we can say the degree of polynomial of this term is 7. So that is the highest power of the variable in a polynomial. Now polynomial, we can categorize the polynomial on the basis of highest power, as I told you. So on the basis of highest power, we have three types of variable. First one is linear polynomial, second one is quadratic polynomial, and third one is cubic polynomial. Now what is linear polynomial? Suppose we have a polynomial having degree 1. In this polynomial, you can see that the maximum power of variable is 1. That's why this is linear polynomial. In a quadratic polynomial, we have the highest power of variable will be 2. That is quadratic polynomial. And in a cubic polynomial, we have the highest power of polynomial will be 3. That is cubic, in the cube form. So that's why you can easily categorize between the linear, quadratic and cubic polynomial. Linear polynomial having 1 degree and the quadratic polynomial have 2 degree and the cubic polynomial have 3 degree. That is known as linear polynomial. Now that is the polynomial on the basis of highest power. Now here we have to understand what is the polynomial if it have n degree, means to it will exist at n terms, it will goes up to infinity or before infinity we have n terms. Then what will be the polynomial, what will be the degree of that polynomial? So the polynomial having n degree can be represented as a n xn plus a n minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 dot 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 plus a1 x plus a0, like that. Here you can see the degree is always decreasing. Here you can see the degree is decreasing, because if we write down the any polynomial in which we will write down the highest degree polynomial first, then after we will represent the polynomial having lowest degree, and in this manner we will write this in a decreasing order. So here the value of n is decreasing, and here a0, a1, a2, a3 and an are constant terms. The terms that are associated with variables are known as constant terms, and an is not equal to 0. Here an is not equal to 0. So polynomial having n degree can be represented by this way, and the polynomial on the basis of highest power or degree, these are the polynomials.